Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I thought that we could kind of take a look at my Pendos palettes because there are multiple of them. I originally thought I'm gonna be doing like quarterly updates, but I missed that. And now that it's almost 6 months later, I just kind of thought that maybe I should start doing monthly updates. Let me know what you think about that, but I realized ever since starting like Project Level Up, Pendos Eyeshadows, and stuff like that, that I update every single month. It kind of makes me like actually try and like really focus on all of these products. So I think I'm gonna start doing that with Panda palette as well. There are gonna be multiple. I'm gonna show you how they look like right now and how they looked like not at the beginning of the year, but like mid-February, which there wasn't that many changes in the first 2 months of the year. I was focusing on other things, so most of the progress will actually show up after a day, like after Valentine's Day. So I'm gonna try to show you, like, if I have pictures, I'm gonna try to show you all the pictures and tell you a little bit about the progress. And from now on, I'm gonna try to film monthly updates. So now let's just jump right into it. And in case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, I love eyeshadows. I love project planning. I've been really like focusing on it this year, and it really helped me to get better use and better feel of my entire collection. So I'm just excited to continue with this project. So first up, we have the two oldest oldest. I don't think they're oldest, but they're like the most used palettes, and it's the two Christmas palettes from Oden's Eye that I've been trying to use up last year, and I almost did that. It's these two, the Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas palette. I no longer have the shades in the original packaging. As you can see, I depotted them. I can link that video down below. But yeah, this is how the Merry Christmas looks like. As you can see, like there's nothing in there. And the reason for that is because from the Merry Christmas, I only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only had 7 shades from this palette out of 16. And from the Christmas Eve, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11. So I had 18 shades combining both of these palettes, and I actually frankened 2 of the shades from the Christmas Eve into one, so that's 17 shades. And those are both 16 pans. So I decided, because there was no chance to actually repress it back into this packaging, into these palettes, and have just like one functioning, so I just depotted them. And when it comes to the Merry Christmas palette, it had 118 uses in total, like when I actually created a look with that palette, so like 118 looks. And right now we're at 162, so 44 uses so far, which I think is pretty good. Most of them come from the past 2 months because I've been like really going at it. A lot of the shades from the Merry Christmas palette are in this other Oden's Eye palette, which is the Earth one. I finished that palette last year, so I just decided to use it as like a container. And I'm almost out of the shade Best Wish. We're currently at 56 uses of this shade, and as you can see, like there's barely anything. Maybe I'm gonna zoom you in actually, so that you can see better. And then there's this shade, which is called Matcha Cookie, which I've been just like really focusing on it in the past week and a half, and I think I'm gonna go focus on it in the next week as well to completely use it up, because you can't see it, but there's just like teeny tiny bad layer at the bottom and nothing else, and it already has a huge pan anyways, so yeah, I'm really gonna try. Then there's the shade Christmas Tree, which is this matte shade. Again, like I have just such a small layer, so I'm gonna be focusing on it after I'll finish these two, and maybe it's even gonna appear in my Pendos eyeshadows. I hope I'm gonna roll it in. Then there's the shade Jingle Bell, also very little of it left. There's just like tiny little layer at the bottom. And then we have the shade New Leaf, which is actually in this Liana palette, so I will get to it in a second. And then there's the shade Gingerbread, which is actually made into a blush. I frankened it with a setting powder. So yeah, it's a blush now. And then the last shade from this palette is called Alright. It's a shimmer shade. And I actually have it repressed in this Mayo Makeup The Frog's Tales palette, and it's over here. It's like shimmer orange. So hopefully 2 shades will be done in a month's time. The Best Wish, which like that will only take me like, I don't know, 5 uses at most. And then the Matcha Cookie. And then we're only gonna have 5 shades to work on from that palette, which is just, oh, so amazing. And since the beginning of the year, I wasn't really able to like change anything about this palette. The first 2 used up shades will be the 2 greens that I was talking about, so not much progress, but also like I've been really trying to use the shade Gingerbread as a blush. Obviously you use less of it as a blush since it's frankened with the setting powder, but at least I can use it like most of the time. Last month I think I've used it 15 times out of like 30. This month is not gonna be that much different. I'm really trying to like every single time I'm wearing something even slightly warm, I always wear this one. It's my main warm blush. I don't use any other to like really go through it. And yeah, I used to have a little bit of the original eyeshadow, but after like 1.5 months of using it as a blush in another container, like I had 1 pan frankened and 1 pan of the original eyeshadow, but after using that franken blush so often, I decided to just use every single bit of that eyeshadow into a blush. So yeah, I really hope I'm gonna be able to using it up, but it's gonna take a while since it is in this container. Then the shade Christmas Eve, we were at 102 uses at the beginning of the year, and now we're at 154, so I've used it 52 times, which is insane amount. I'm like really trying. One of the shades that I haven't really touched, I think I've touched it like twice since the beginning of the year, is this one. It's called Just Now. It's my least used shade of that entire palette. I've only used it 13 times so far, like altogether since I purchased that palette. I've only used it 13 times because it is kind of similar to other shades that I have, and I like the greens from the Merry Christmas a little bit more, so I haven't really touched that one a lot. So that's one of the shades. Then majority of them I have depotted and used in my magnetic pans, so they're here. We have the shade Snowflake, which is actually, it doesn't exist on its own yet. It's frankened into my Colorpop Tinkerbell shade, like shade from the Tinkerbell palette, and it's this green one called Neverland, and as you can see I only have like little bit, so yeah, it's half the Neverland shade and half, or like third of the Snowflake, because I had such a little amount, and hopefully this shade will go be used up again in the next like month and a half. I'm really trying, but it is like dry. It is a very dry shade that takes me a lot of work, but I'm really trying. And since I have the other greens as a matte, I'm just really trying to like focus on all of them together. I've been wearing a lot of green lately, but whatever. Then I have the shade Ice Crystal, which is this one, this matte shade. It's not easy to use it because I don't really wear these shades a lot. It currently has 35 uses in total ever since I got this palette, and there's so much of it. I'm gonna have to franken it into something. I think I'm gonna film a frankening video after I finish the 2 matte greens from the Merry Christmas palette. I think I'm gonna film like a frankening session, and I will try to franken these shades I don't use all that often, which are a lot of these cool tones from the Christmas Eve palette, into something more me and more wearable. So that's the plan. Then we have the shade Silvery Dream, which is this one. I don't have that much of it. I've already used it 23 times and it's a shimmer, so I hope within 50 uses I will be able to use it up. I'm definitely gonna franken it into something more me, because this one is like a taupey gray. I've actually used it twice in my BYOPs when I was, well, like duping a palette, and one in a BYOP, and so I have a couple of uses of this one, but it's just now the shade that I really focus on. Then the Just Now I already talked about. Then we have the shade Snowlight, which I was able to completely use up. It was deposited into this container here in the Mayo Makeup palette, but 3 days ago, I think, I completely used it up. So it's no longer with us. And this is the only shade that I was able to use up from these 2 palettes this year so far. And yeah, it took me 46 uses in total. This one was kind of like very flaky jelly shade, so it was easy to use it up. And I did so many yellowy orange looks when I had the rest of the palette as well. So yeah, it's gone. It's the only shade so far, but I hope if I'm gonna film these videos every single month that will really inspire me to like plow through these and be done with them as soon as I can. I would love to use up the Merry Christmas palette by like the end of summer, but I don't think that that's gonna be possible. That's like insanely presumptuous goal, but I would love that. So that's for Snowlight. Then there's the Filting Time, which is this one. I don't have much of it left actually. It's not a shade that I like on my eyes. I would always cover it with the shade Snowlight, the light yellow. But this one I only have like half the pan left. And I use it a lot on my nails. I would always use like a brown cream shade and then top it with this, and it's actually really nice. So I think I'm gonna use it up on my nails because it's not it's just too dirty on me. I don't really like it, if I'm being honest. Then there's the shade Nowhere, which is a beautiful shade. It's kind of more like purpley. It actually doesn't look that gray on me. It looks a lot more purple. I think it's also the fact that I have like more warmer skin tone. But yeah, it already has 28 uses on it. I think it had a pan in the original packaging. Yeah, it had a pan. There's still a lot of it left. But I think I'm gonna franken it into something as well to just get more uses out of it. Then we have the shade Wonderful, and the shade Wonderful doesn't exist anymore on its own, but I frankened it with the shade Blue Star. So the Wonderful is more like a soft, glittery, light purple, and then the shade Blue Star is like a deep midnight shimmery blue with kind of like a purpley flip. So yeah, I have it here in this pan. They're franken together. It's actually a really nice shade, and you can probably see it on camera, but I feel like if I'm gonna use it like 3 times, I'm gonna hit a huge pan here, and it's kind of mostly on the sides. But it hard pans a lot because the shade Wonderful, like I always, ever since I got this palette, it always had a problem of hard panning on me. So yeah, that one is kind of annoying. I hated most of these shades I'm kind of like left with from the Christmas Eve palette are shades that I normally wear like towards the second half of the year, and I would like to use it up as soon as possible. So this is gonna be really hard, but I will really try. I will put my mind to it, and hopefully we'll be done with that. Then I have the shade Softly, which is like really warm brown. Where is it? I actually have bit of it over here. I've used this shade a lot in my brows, and then I decided to franken it with a setting powder in this pan to use it as like a warm, either like brown blush, which I sometimes do actually, or as a bronzer. I don't actually wear bronzers very often, but during weekends or when I'm not working, I can definitely do this because then I have more time and I don't really care if it looks weird because I'm just not used to seeing myself with bronzer. But yeah, I have half of it here, and if I'm gonna want like softer brows, I can also use this in my brows. So I hope I'm gonna be like going through this quickly if I'm gonna actually use it on my brows. Right now I'm using the shade Merry Christmas, sorry, the shade Matcha Cookie in my brows together with like purple to make it into brown. But once I'll be done with that shade, I'm gonna focus on these to just use that brown up. So that's softly. And then I have Night Sky, which is this deep blue, like navy blue matte shade, and this one has so little of it. Like it's just like the teeniest tiniest layer. I feel like if I'm gonna touch it with a brush, everything is gonna shatter and the entire shade will be gone. So if I'm gonna really focus on it in the like next 10 uses, maybe I'm gonna be completely done with this shade, and I really want to focus on it a little bit more to be done with that, because I would like to have majority of the shades out before, hopefully before the beginning of summer, but that is like a month and a half. So, well, now it's even less than that. I just have to really, really, really focus. Then we have the Salmonid 2 palette by Oden. This one is my current Panda palette, like the main Panda palette for this year that I've introduced at the beginning of the year. And this one had 69 uses at the beginning of the year. Currently it has 87. And I've been able to create 3 pans. So there are 4 pans in this palette, and it was the shade Warm Light, which is this one, then the shade Mercury, which is this one, then Galaxy, which is this one, and then the shade Soft Cloud, which is here. After I made the pan, I also used a lot of the shade as a nail polish, so I decided to franken it and repress it with my Glam Shop shade from the Alter Ego palette, because that one was kind of crumbly and I didn't want it to stay in the pan that I had it originally. So I decided to like franken them, and yeah, now I don't have a pan here, but there's not that much eyeshadow actually, so yeah, that one. And since then I was able to create a pan in the shade Meteor, this one, then the shade Neptune, this one, and the shade Dream, which is this one. 2 of them were because of my Pendos eyeshadows, and the shade Dream was because I used this palette as my level 1 palette for the project level up. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pans. Technically there would be 7 if I didn't franken the shade Soft Cloud. But there's 5 pans, 3 of them, 6 pans, 3 of them are new. And yeah, I was able to use this palette almost 20 times. It's 18 times now. So that one will be like the main palette that I will update. And I think I'm gonna use a couple of these eyeshadows to franken them with the Christmas Eve and Merry Christmas, just to get more uses on both of these palettes. But I do really enjoy this one, and it's a really great palette. Then another one is the Beauty Bay Mini Charms palette. This was one of the palettes that you were voting for at the end of last year. I kind of create like a poll for you to vote on if you want me to, like which palettes you want me to work on, and this one had a lot of votes. So it's the Beauty Bay Mini Charms. It's a 9-pan palette. It's a very small little all shimmer palette. I was able to hit a pan on this blue shade thanks to one of my Pendos eyeshadows prompts, or maybe it was just like a random number generator, I don't know, but it was in my Pendos eyeshadows. Currently I'm working on this shade. So the center one is called Cosmic and this one is called Eclipse. So yeah, those are kind of the shades, and this one had 7 uses at the beginning of the year, and now we're at 28 uses, and we already have one pan. So this one, I can also use this one as a face highlighting palette, so, and that's what I've been using it a lot as well. I think like half of these uses are definitely on my cheeks. So this one I will also update every single month, as well as all of them. Then I have the Tinkerbell palette, and what I wanted was to create a pan in these 6 shades on the bottom. The shade thing I completely used up, so it's no longer in my collection. I completely used it up thanks to one of the Pendos eyeshadows prompts. Then the shade Neverland, that's the one that I was showing you with the snowflake shade, the Frankened one. So it's not here, it's in my spring BYOP. I actually Frankened that shade Neverland also here to create like a different version of it. I'm gonna have to work on that one. But yeah, Sleep already has a pan. It had a pan last year, and then we have the shade Awake, which I have to hit a pan. So that's kind of my goal for this one. I don't actually plan to use it up, even though it would be really cool. But I just want to have these 6 shades with a pan. Technically, this one, the center one, called Pixie Dust, also had a pan, but I had to repress it because it was falling everywhere, and it was kind of crumbly. So that one I want to use up completely this year. So technically, we will have those 3 used up, and then those with a pan. So that would be like really cool. The Tinkerbell pad has 37 uses at the beginning of the year, and now it has 64. So again, it's mainly thanks to the Pendos eyeshadows project that I was able to get that far with it. But yeah, it's really hard. And also let me know if you want me to measure the weights of every single of these palettes every month. I think I already did that with the previous pad, but I will kind of try to pop in a weight for all of these. Obviously, it's not gonna work for the Merry Christmas and Christmas Eve because they're kind of all over the place, so it would be just like too hard to measure it. But for the rest of them that are like genuine palettes, I will measure them and update every single month on the weight. So hopefully you'll enjoy that, and I will update this at the end of every month, not like the last day, but towards the end of every single month. So that's for the Tinkerbell palette. And then we have last 2 palettes. So we have the Shall We Make Up Liana palette, which has one of the Merry Christmas shades that I forgot how it's called, but New Leaf, which I only used like twice this year, and that's only because this palette was actually my project level up palette for the level 2, so I had to use every single shade twice, and I was able to hit 2 pans thanks to that. It happened last month, or actually a couple days ago, because I updated that a couple days ago, and I think this pan happened like a week and a half ago, or maybe just like a week ago. I've been wearing so much green looks that I just cannot be bothered to remember. But this palette had 28 uses at the beginning of the year, and now it has 31, so only 3 uses, but I was able to hit 2 pans in that amount. And I think my goal for this one was I wanted to use it up completely. So obviously, like the shade I have to use up because it's in the Christmas palette. These ones are gonna be really easy because each of the shade has only 1 gram of product, and this one I'm kind of scared about, but I'm gonna try to work on it. So that's for the Liana palette. And the last one is the Hello Bean palette by Fell Cosmetics in collaboration with Betty Bean. Sorry, it's this one. Couple shades are kind of different. This one is in my spring BYOP, so it's not here. And these 2 don't belong here. I kind of swapped that because I don't even know why. One of them is in my Legend of Korra palette, and the other I don't think I wanted to use. So for the shades that are original to this palette, my goal would be to hit a pan on them this year. So far I was only able to hit the pan on the shade Crypt because it was in my Pendos eyeshadows. It was rolled in there, and it took me 20 uses to do that. It's been so hard, and I actually used it as a brow shade for a while together with something else. Otherwise I would never hit the pan. It was just so hard, so I'm kind of scared about this, and I don't know how well I'm gonna be able. I think this one's gonna be the like least focused on palette because I just it's really hard, and I don't really like this palette anymore. I do like the shade Wicked, that's currently not here because it's like a deep brown, and I love the shade Colors, but for the rest of them, I don't know if I actually like them. And I'm kind of wondering if I should keep it or if I should just get rid of it. But I do want to keep the magnetic palette on itself. I just wanted to get some more use out of these shades because I haven't really used this palette all that much, and I paid for it, so like I just wanted to get some uses out of it, but I'm kind of losing the will to do that. But this one had 21 uses, and now it has 39 uses. So yeah, almost 20 uses more, and it's just because of the shade grip that I was trying to pan. I don't think the rest of the palette, I only used the shade Wicked like twice because it's in my spring BYOP, and otherwise I don't think I've touched any of the shades at all since the beginning of the year. So that's how the project is going. I will definitely film some current pictures and like the way that the way that these palettes look, and I've obviously measured them, and I'm gonna hopefully remember to put the weights in at the on the screen. So that's everything for this video. Let me know what you think about this one. Let me know if you want me to update it monthly, but I think I will try to, because that would really like motivate me to actually focus on these. And yeah, let me know how you're doing. If you're doing any of like project band projects, it can be like Pendos eyeshadows, Panda palette, but like whatever you're doing this year, let me know down below. And how are you doing? Like, I've been actually able to hit so many pans this year, way more than I ever was able to, but it's been kind of in other palettes and in my singles collection. So I'm gonna really have to like focus on these palettes and work on them. But that's everything from me. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another video. So bye.